Burmis here, and I'm out at the park with one of my nieces and the dog on the dog walk. And after a long morning of doing a couple of interviews, one that's going to be on a podcast, you want to take her? Or are you swinging? Here, take her.
I'll take her.
Okay, thank you. Um, I also put out two videos. I read the indictment, and then I also went through the press conference. Now, I'm not going to go through all the details here. Hey, what's up, Occupy Dogtown? Because I'm with my niece. But boy, do I have hope for this, right? Like, maybe this can start a string of events where the Bryan Singers of the world, the Dan Schneiders of the world, they actually get arrested and prosecuted, right? It's an amazing day. And especially when watching the press conference, how they were asking that, he not be released, that he's clearly a flight risk. Well, he's clearly a flight risk. So if that's the case, like I reiterated in my last video, if that is the actual case, I mean, think about it. He's going to end up spending more time in jail just awaiting trial. A trial I don't think he can win this time, all right, than he did in the previous affair. So can we get justice? Can we finally get justice from a system that has failed us so many times on so many levels, and in this case in particular? I don't know. I really hope so. I would think that there are a lot of records that were being kept in that New York apartment. And I would say with what they found in regards to the pictures means there will absolutely be more charges. So far, we haven't heard about any videos yet, but I would be shocked if there wasn't the type of video you were not supposed to be having in that residence. All that being said, this is a separate case. This is New York. They referred to investigative journalists as giving them the tips to do this. So, again, hopefully this is the first in many arrests. And hopefully the unsealed documents. I was seeing articles today saying that all the documents may not be unsealed. I've yet to get a link to all the unsealed material. I don't know where it's at. If anybody knows where it's at, please hit me up in my DMs on Twitter. I check Facebook a lot less. I really have relegated Facebook to a once-in-a-while promotion and setting up interviews with people that I don't have their contact information otherwise. Facebook's just such a cesspit. It's such garbage. Twitter's a lot better in my opinion. You at least get to follow those you want. And although, the crappy mainstream is really promoted, I still am gaining a lot of followers lately with this information because I think I have credibility on it. Yes, Comey's daughter is prosecuting, but she's one of the prosecutors. In fact, if you watched my indictment video, I led with that. I talked about that. I talked about how Forbes is saying that he's not even really a billionaire. Now, that remains to be seen. I've done some biography work through We Are Change on Epstein and where he came from and what we knew about him, but it certainly seems like he had some kind of funds. Whether it was in the billions, I'm not sure. Nope, thank you, Freedom. I appreciate you guys. So hopefully, again, if you're new to this channel, this is a daily walk and talk where sometimes I answer questions. I talk about some of the other news stories. I don't know what else I'm going to be able to cover. I'm so entrenched in these unsealed documents now with the developing material. And I'm wondering myself if Epstein's going to be it. Can you imagine, for instance, if they actually arrest Dershowitz on criminal trafficking charges? I think that's really unlikely, but I would have told you on Saturday afternoon before the UFC fights, it was going to be very, very unlikely that Jeffrey Epstein was going to be arrested by the New York State District Office, Southern District Office. Just crazy. Just send mailers like the old days. I don't know. I hope that people are emailing my stuff to other people. I look at where my outside YouTube traffic comes from, and it comes from the Corbett Report, and it comes from SGT Report, and a lot of it actually does come from Facebook, but that's you guys sharing it on social media. Anybody who knows me knows I barely post there. Let's see, National Lampoon, and hoping others are freaking out, figuring they better turn evidence. And yeah, that's another thing. There are already people that are overseas, Sarah Bronfman being one of them. And we know that, do you want to go to the playground? Okay. Sarah Bronfman just being one of them that's overseas, but you look at somebody, I don't know, like maybe Alephantis that's overseas. And a lot of people have tried to discredit that type of work, but there was a lot of disinformation put out. I think that that needs not only a second, but a third and a fourth look and some refinement. And I want to know what's on Weiner's laptop. I've seen some people posting about Anthony Weiner, and I would say this, in the IG report, it's clear what they think they saw there. And that was completely whitewashed. A lot of people think that the 15 months or so he did in Club Fed was because of that. It wasn't. That was a totally separate case where he was caught inappropriately Skyping with somebody who was underage. That's what that was about. And I'm trying to keep the language as clean as possible because my niece is looking over at me, trying to discern what I'm saying, because I don't usually let her watch my material, especially after the fact. But yeah, so we're going to see where all this goes. But speaking about the New York State District Attorney's Office, Claire Bronfman's deal is just too sweet unless we see some more charges come up against her. The idea she's going to spend 21 to 72 months in jail, and that if she gets sentenced to more than 27, she can appeal it with a $6 million fine for what she's accused and alleged to have done in those indictments. That's a slap on the wrist. And it's extremely suspicious to me that Raniere himself decided not even to put up a defense, not even to put up a case, not call a single witness, and just have his attorney make a closing argument. That doesn't make you think the fix is in? We'll see what's doled out to the Salzmans. We'll see what's doled out to Mac. We'll see what's doled out to others involved in the organization. And we'll see if there's more charges. But we know that, Salinas is still down in Mexico. These are international rings. They're not just state side trafficking rings. They're international rings. It's the definition of these things. You look at all the properties and the plane records. Everybody thinks, a lot of people like to say, well, Trump's not on the flight logs. Trump's not on the flight logs. I've gone in depth on that. But people have to really realize that, number one, those flight logs of one pilot of one of the planes are incomplete, and that there are two other pilots, and there's at least one other helicopter, if not two other helicopters. Think about that. So we have a very, very small portion of these quote-unquote flight lists, and Alan Dershowitz in his testimony kind of snickers about it. He's like, I want all the flight lists too. It'll prove I wasn't ever on the plane. And Dershowitz, I think, was thinking, hey, I could just ride this civil suit out. That's why a week ago he said he's changed his mind. He said, I want everything out in the open. Then all of a sudden he was like, you know what? For the good of the Constitution, I want those things sealed. And he's an 80-year-old man. He's trying to buy his time. But Epstein, if he's not allowed to leave, if a judge on Thursday rules that he can't leave, and that's what the prosecution, Jeffrey Berman and others are asking for, he's going to serve more time in jail just waiting for this case to go. And that's awesome. That's amazing. And he thinks he's going to win after whatever they found in his house? No way. Waking up Sunday and hearing the news felt like waking up in a totally different timeline. It's crazy. Still hard to believe what's happening, but it feels good. Appreciate the work. Thank you, Erica. Thank you. Thank you for all your kind offers and your support. Amazing. And thank all you guys that are starting to join the Burmis Brigade. We're going to hit 25K real soon. We're going to do an Ask Me Anything broadcast. We will be covering Beyond Epstein. It's just hard to get to anything else when you're reading trial documents. They're long, they're repetitive. You can do the keyword search, but unless you know what you're looking at, you can really overlook some key stuff. So I think I'm going to be doing at least one more deep dive and possibly another video, possibly an interview on a subject outside of Epstein today. And we're going to be rocking the news as it comes. I think that we've got to look at this fact that they're trying to sell that he's not a billionaire. We need to know who his customers and other associates are. It was asked at the press conference whether or not Prince Andrew had provided information. It was a no comment. Employees 1, 2, and 3 are named in this new indictment as employees 1, 2, and 3. And when asked whether they were cooperating or not, he said that he could also not comment. So guys, here's the deal. If you enjoy this, the Walk and Talks, real news, a person that's not going to tell you he's a liberal or a conservative, a person that's not going to tell you he has all the answers, a person that's willing to admit when he's wrong. Hopefully I'm your guy. I'm trying to bring truth to media. I'm not, a fake ass personality trying to get subs and say things that people like. I'm trying to tell you guys the truth So if you're new to the game, please thumbs it up, share it. Make sure you ring the bell for notifications so you can be a part of the live broadcasts. And again, if you can support me on the GoFundMe, I really appreciate it. Otherwise, I will see you guys later today on the flip side. Thank you so